The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. This is the United Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Quirky Dog Podcast, inspired by some of the quirkiest dogs you can ever imagine, and the owners who love them. This podcast is brought to you by the quirky couple themselves, Scott and Jess Williams. Their aim is to educate and entertain. Here's Scott and Jess.
Welcome, guys, and happy Wednesday. Today we have a very, very, very special guest on our podcast, and his awesome, very well-behaved Malinois Kona. He's making our Malinois look like cuckoo cuckoos. But first, we're going to start with the quirky tip of the day. All right, our quirky tip is, this URL is also going to be linked in the description, but I want you guys to go to mavestadog, that's vest with a T.org, and you can even donate right on the website. Today we have Dave Shilale, who is a representative of Mass Vesta Dog. This is an awesome organization. Dave reached out to me, and we're so happy to be here promoting it here today. So Dave, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, so tell us about what this Vesta Dog thing is.
Sure. Mass Vesta Dog is a all-volunteer nonprofit, 501c3, that supports police canine teams across Massachusetts. We provide actually take a step back. When it first started, it was for bulletproof and stab-proof vests.
Okay.
25 years ago next year, Kathy Hines and her daughter started the organization after a tragic accident with a canine out of Ohio Sheriff's Department. Was killed in action, and her daughter came up to her and said, listen, I want to do something about this, which was awesome. So that's how Mass Vesta Dog started. And it was, like I said, with bulletproof, stab-proof vests. And over the years, it's just grown. So we provide training, we provide essential equipment, and we actually purchase dogs for departments. We just did our first grant round of the year and supplied 3 dogs for towns and cities across Massachusetts.
Oh, cool. That's awesome. So, yeah, you've grown quite a bit because you knew about them when it was the
Maybe
vests.
15 years ago, I remember, and it was just the vests at that time,
Correct.
I think.
Correct.
Yeah,
we're
she's fine.
so
Can
much
she
more.
have the pig? Will she like the pig, or will she destroy it?
If she's a normal.
She can squeak the pig. Give me it.
She's upset she's not being
I know. Here, you
paid
can have
attention
a toy.
to.
I squeaked the pig. This literally is the kindest, nicest dog ever. She's in the thumbnail, but we'll have her jump up so you can see her. She's literally the most well-behaved Malin all the time. Okay, so these vests, this is an important point because these dogs can be injured just as well as human police officers. I mean, this is a thing.
Absolutely. And they're usually the first ones to go in.
Yeah, exactly. They're taking the front.
It's paws before boots, as they say.
Yeah.
So they're taking the lead.
Yeah, and then there was something about the vests only last a certain amount of time. Does that still ring true? And what does that mean and why?
The Kevlar has an expiration on it or
The
something?
Kevlar has an expiration date, and it's gotten better over the years. It varies. I mean, I think we usually say around 5 years.
Okay.
And then we can, in some vests, you can swap out the Kevlar, or some you need to just completely replace.
Yeah.
So we're virtual, so in our storage unit in a corner, we have a heavy pile of old vests.
Yeah.
And the technology's changed unbelievable over the years.
Yeah, I'm sure. Okay, so that's why there's an expiration.
You got to make toys for Malinois out of those expired
Do
Kevlar.
Do something. Yeah.
Serge, I'm plugging you. I'm going to send all the old Kevlar so you can sell the bite slaves. So as far as who you guys service, is every police department in the country for the most part?
Nope, just Massachusetts.
Oh, just Mass. Okay.
Just
I gotta listen.
Vesta
I gotta
Dog.
listen. Okay. So just Massachusetts police officers.
Right.
And
Can I help
does
you?
every department pretty much work with you guys, or how is that?
It is open to every department across the state, whether it's cities, towns, Mass State Police, Sheriff's Department, corrections. So it really depends.
Do they seek you out to get on a list with these vests?
It's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
What we try to do is after training classes, particularly Troy just had one. Troy from Boston PD training just had one.
We brought the Border Collie down. We trained a lot with Troy Francis back in the day.
Francis, yeah.
Exactly. And ironically, Kathy's still involved. She actually went to the class and did measurements for whoever needed vests.
Cool. Awesome.
So she's very much still involved with the organization. She has retired, as she says.
Yeah.
But departments can reach out to us directly, or we'll go to a class and see who has vests, who doesn't. Vests can be given at any point 365 days of the year. And then we have 2 grant rounds a year, one in June, one in December. And then departments can apply for a grant. Just as an example, last Sunday, we had our grant meeting, met virtually for a little over 2 hours, and we had, I think I mentioned, three canine candidates. We had a cruiser insert with a hot and pop requested, some bite sleeve equipment, and a handful
You do
of
the
other.
door poppers set up?
We do the door popper,
That's
yep,
nice.
and the alarm.
That's pretty important,
that's
especially this
huge.
summer.
Explain what that is for the
Well,
people listening.
It's a thermostatically controlled device to unlock the back door of the car so the dog doesn't overheat and die.
Yeah.
Or if a handler's in trouble,
To get
and
the
hasn't
dog
brought
out.
the dog,
Yeah.
they pop and they come and help them.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
more how I was thinking it to be used.
Like an emergency, yeah.
Yeah. So have other states taken suit then? Like, are there other states that are doing something similar?
There are a number of organizations, and
Okay.
even in Massachusetts, there's a number that have popped up, smaller
Okay.
than us, but there are also national organizations across the country
Okay.
that will supply. I mean, on social media, I follow so many of them,
Yeah,
and so there's
okay.
so many other great organizations that are doing what we're doing in some capacity for police canines.
Yeah, but I assume 25 years ago, this was a pretty new concept back
Very,
in the day.
very new, yeah.
So
do you have
ex-
any? I just want to ask. Do you have any real dogs that have been saved by the vests that you have documented, or that they've said, "Hey, this happened," or "That happened"?
You know, it's funny you say it. Unfortunately, I have not experienced that. I have not witnessed that. I have not heard of that, particularly in Massachusetts, which you can look at both ways. I mean, it's a good thing where they haven't needed them or haven't got in. Unfortunately, there have been some tragedies in Massachusetts the past couple years with Canine Frankie and Canine Kit.
Yeah, I've seen those.
You know, and we have had people ask, you know, did they have vests on? And I believe they did, but you know, the vest doesn't cover your face, doesn't
Yeah, no, it's
cover
not
everything.
foolproof. Yeah, no,
Actually, I can remember
definitely.
when I was lived in Los Angeles, we did bite work for the LA deputies, sheriff's department. And one time a guy came in with his dog, and the dog had all stitches all over his chest. And it was like his first day back to do some bite work. The dog had been recovering for like 3 weeks or a month. And yeah, the dog ran in, and some guy with a knife was just stabbing the heck out of the dog. And fortunately, the dog survived it, and he was right back to work. He would have.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, the dogs don't care if they're cut or not.
No,
but they're just going to go.
They are intense.
Yeah.
They're
that's why-
special breed.
That's
But,
why they use mouths.
Yeah,
That's exactly, yeah. This one could never be a police dog, that's for sure.
Well,
I
she's
can
way
see
too
how
social.
the knife-proof, bulletproof type vest thing would be a nice thing for that type of situation.
Definitely.
Is it heavy? Does it make it harder to work in the heat and stuff?
There's 2 vests that we currently provide. One's from LOF, and that's a traditional patrol vest.
Okay.
And then there's another vest from Canine Storm, Street Fighter vest, and that's a little bit lets the dog move and maneuver a little bit
Okay.
more, because those vests are typically used for SWAT teams.
Got it.
So they have rappelling latches on them. The mobility's a little better just because they're going to be in much different situations than a traditional patrol dog.
Yeah. Okay. And then as far as this expansion goes, because obviously the organization is called Mass Vested Dogs, so you guys are known for these vests. When did the expansions occur? And just go into a little more detail about the training and the dogs and all that kind of stuff that you were mentioning.
Yeah, I mean, I joined the organization probably a little over 10 years ago, and at that time, we were offering so much more than just the vests.
Okay.
So it's and I don't know the exact date, but it's been well over 10 years that it's just much more than just the vests.
Okay.
Probably
and-
when those big grants came in, you said, "Oh, okay, now we can actually
Yeah.
expand
Oh,
what
absolutely.
we offer." Yeah.
Absolutely. And, you know, if it wasn't for the canines, we wouldn't be around. So
Exactly.
we're all for providing grants for new canine candidates for towns and cities and departments. Because,
Yeah.
you know, I'm biased, but I think they're an unbelievable, and I don't even want to say piece of equipment, but partner to the handlers.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if I was going to be a police officer, I would want to be canine. There's no question.
Yeah, no, 100%. The dogs, there's no replacement. We were talking about that a few
isn't.
weeks ago with Paul Bourgeois. It doesn't matter how much money you invest. It's never going to be the same as what the dog can provide
Yes.
intellectually and sensory and everything else wise.
Absolutely.
So if somebody's listening and for some reason they know someone in a police department in Massachusetts, should they go to the website? Should they contact you directly? Like, what's the best way for organizations to get involved that want to get their animals in vests?
Sure. They can go to the website, as you mentioned, massvestedog.org. And on there, we have an info at email. There is also, there's a grant application up there, both for vest and for our biannual grants. We're slowly transitioning to electronic forms. It's still a little antiquated. We came up with a brand new website 2 years ago, but they can go in there. If you're a department, if you're a handler, you can go there and fill that out and just email it to us, and we'll get it and be considered for the next grant round, which will be in December.
Okay, awesome. And then people listening, I mentioned that they can donate through the website. Do you guys have like other fundraising events? Like how else can the community get involved? Because
Sure.
I didn't really realize how excited people were to help these like retired, veterans, if you will, with the police force. And I'm sure they'll feel the same way about active duty. But people have gotten very involved in this. They've been writing
Absolutely.
us like, oh, I have a new like charity to promote, and this is great. So how can people get more involved? Because people like to get involved.
Absolutely. So on the website, there's a donate button on every page, I think. So you can, whether it's
Just
$1
click and-
or
click and
$100,
click.
whatever.
Yeah.
And the donations range. They really, really do. I mean, people are so generous. And whether it's, like I said, $25, and we've had some incredible donations from unknown people, like tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
It's been unbelievable.
It's amazing.
We also do events. Sometimes we're invited to events. Ironically, there's an event going on down on the South Shore today, a vehicle car show, and all the proceeds from that is going to be donated to Mass Vesta Dog. We just announced, we just put it up on our social channels today, we're having our first memorial golf tournament ever in September, and that's going to be in memory of Massachusetts State Police Canine Frankie.
Okay.
And so we're looking forward to that. We did a cornhole tournament over the winter to raise money. So, if folks go to our site, we have an events page where there's events that we'll participate in that we've been invited to. Other people can throw events for us as well. We've had, there's a young lady out in Western Mass who did a lemonade stand, and all the money went to Mass Vesta Dog.
Awesome.
Actually, her mom just sent me a note last week and said she just raised like $250 for Massachusetts Vesta Dog.
Cool.
So it comes in all shapes and sizes.
But every little bit helps. I guess that's the point I'm trying to
Every
make.
little
Don't
bit
feel
helps.
like if you go on and you donate $5, maybe it's not going to purchase a whole vest, obviously, but you're still helping the cause. And I mean, you guys run through these donations and grants. I assume like that's the only way that you stay afloat.
So what are these vests retail for?
I bet question. Yeah, they retail somewhere between $1,800 and up to $3,000. A good vest.
Yeah.
There are a lot of manufacturers out there. There's different types of vests. We make sure we go to, like I said, the best vest.
Were you guys ever making them yourselves?
No,
or it was always...
No, that's a whole special...
Right.
That's a whole specialty process. You don't want me making vests. No.
But you're not married to one company. You have a few different companies that you may get them from, or do you have one primary
There's two we
vendor?
go to. There's LOF and there's Canine Storm.
Yeah.
Ironically, both of them are up in Canada.
Yeah.
But there are others, but those are our primary vendors that we go to currently.
But it's a big expense for a police department to go
Very
buy a
much so.
friggin', an elective piece of equipment for $2,500 or so. It's a big deal.
Maybe this is a novice question, but how many canines do police departments normally have? Does it? I mean, I'm sure it ranges.
A lot of them are just one or two. A lot of these small.
It does range. Smaller towns. Actually, the town I live in is a very small town, and we had one for a while, and then they retired, or he retired. But then a city, if you will, like Quincy, I believe they have 18.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
Because they're
you could
also
have a whole kennel and the whole deal.
Oh, absolutely. Because they're also on the waterfront, so they're doing a lot with the Coast Guard.
A lot of
They're doing
detection work.
Exactly. A lot of explosives.
Yeah.
Yep, EOD and narcotics.
I think up where we are, Kittery has like one, I think.
Yeah.
smaller.
Yeah.
Kona's
Probably the handler probably takes that dog home with them at night.
Oh, they all do.
Yeah.
They go home. I mean, the handlers and the dogs are together basically 24/7. Can I help you?
Yeah, Kona wants us to talk about her more. So she is not a police dog.
She
Let's
is-
just touch
no,
on her.
she-
She's
she
like,
is
enough
not a police
talking
dog, no.
about all
No,
this
she is not a
accessory
police
stuff.
dog. We
She's a needy dog.
She is a very needy dog. She Kona, she's trying to
Trying
get
to
up
come
in
up.
my
Let her
lap
come
is
up.
what
You
she's
can do
doing.
it here.
You want to come
I'll
in my
save
lap?
your wire. Here you go.
You wanna come
There we
up?
go. We have to, right on the counter.
Are you serious?
All right, help her,
Come
Scott.
here.
All right, there we go. All right, we didn't break her. All right, so tell us
she's
about
good.
her. All right. Woo.
So we've
Now
always
you're a part of.
my family's always had
Another
point-
reason why people like Malinois is that size.
Yes.
You can just throw them in the window.
My family's always had pointy-eared dogs. We had a Shepherd mix for 14 years, a rescue, always rescues. Our second dog was a retired police dog, a narcotics dog only.
Oh, cool.
Her handler, very special story. Her handler wanted to retire her, and he got a new partner. They didn't get along at all.
Okay.
And they tried converting her to a pet, but all she wanted to do was find drugs. And when she found drugs, she got her reward, which was a ball.
Yeah.
And so we had just lost our 14-year-old shepherd. Kathy, the then president of Mass Vesta Dog, reached out to me and said, there's a narcotics dog looking for a home. I know you just lost Blitz. Are you interested? And I of course said, yeah, sure, no problem. My wife was like, well, Malinois, police dog. We really want to do this.
It just sniffed things. It was okay. It didn't bite anything.
You can tell who the sane one is in the relationship.
So we took her for a 24-hour test period. She never left. We had her for 2 years. And then she got sick, and we had to unfortunately put her down. But the best thing about that is her handler and her handler's wife both came when we had to put her down.
Oh, awesome.
We had her cremated. We split the ashes.
Yeah,
so it was
so
very,
special.
very special.
Yeah.
And at that point, and I was already doing photography for Mass Vesta Dog and loved the Malinois.
Yeah.
And so...
You really are a little bit wired incorrectly.
That's what people say. You have a what? And you're not,
But still, even just loved the Malinois.
Oh,
like
love
that.
Mal. I love them. Absolutely love them. And so, like I said, we always rescued. So I was introduced to American-Belgian Malinois Rescue.
Yeah.
And we got this one when she was 10 weeks old.
That is
she
great.
She came up from the south, and
she's got to have nice genetics because she's truly lovely.
She's great.
And she's got some drive.
Depends how you look at it.
She does have drive, but she does have an off switch for a Malinois.
But I mean, you said she's doing dock diving and stuff. I mean, she has.
Yes.
It's there.
Oh yeah. Her personal best is over 23 feet jumping.
Yeah. That's awesome. Do you just do the long stuff or do the vertical?
Just the long stuff, yeah. Never got into the vertical.
Dock diving is so confusing. There's so many facets
awesome.
now. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So we talked about you. I gave you your whole segment. I promised you. Yeah. Do you bring her at all the events and stuff?
Not usually the Mass Vesta Dog events.
Okay.
When I'm at an event, I'm there for Mass Vesta Dog,
Yeah.
and especially a lot of times we'll bring in teams to do a demo.
Yeah.
And I just want to concentrate.
They put the vest on a dog and start shooting at it.
Yeah.
This one lives.
Only my husband. You could have a little vest on and you could carry business cards. I think you'd be a good mascot
good
for the
mascot,
company.
yes,
No, she's a
exactly.
lovely dog. I love that. All right. So what else about the organization that we haven't touched on? There's a lot of people that we peripherally know in dogs that are very heavily involved in this too. So when you contacted me, I was like, hey, like this Dave guy, and everybody's like, oh my God, he's the best. Yes, for sure, have him on. Like, he's awesome. I feel like I've seen Shannon have these little stuffed animals wearing them too. Is that a thing?
We just got some stuffed animal products. We got Mally's Shepherd, Bloodhound, and a Black Lab.
Okay.
They're on the website for sale.
So if you guys, that's what I was going to say. For the
It has
kids,
the Vesta Dog logo on
Yeah, it
it.
has the Vesta Dog and has
Yeah.
a camo vest.
Neat.
Yeah, when we just did two TPLOs
no.
for Scott's Border Collie at the place Shannon works, and they had them at the counter there.
Yes.
So it's not, even if you don't want to send money, you could buy a cute little one
it.
for your young nephew or anything else. I'm going to be showering everyone with them for Christmas gifts for all my friends' kids.
Yeah.
But really, I mean, it's such a meaningful way to get involved. And like you said, we owe these dogs our lives.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're protecting
They're
our
such a
streets.
resource.
Yeah, they're protecting our troops. I mean, it's just crazy what they can do.
Yeah. And we have, you mentioned what else people can do. We're always looking for volunteers.
Okay.
We're always looking for volunteers. I mean, there's a lot of things that we want to continue doing. Kathy was great at doing newsletters years ago, would email them out or mail them out. And that's just something that's fallen by the wayside. We're trying to do bigger events like cornhole, like the golf tournament, to raise larger amounts of money with a single event.
Okay.
But we're always looking for volunteers.
And people can work virtually. They don't have to be coming
We're completely virtual.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Yep.
So that's good to
Yep.
know too. And they don't even need to be in Mass if they want to volunteer.
No, one of our board members is out of New Hampshire, ironically.
There you go.
Yep.
There you go. I can volunteer for Maine. When you say newsletters, I'm like, oh, I can do a newsletter for them. But I don't think I should add to my plate.
You probably
right
have
at
enough
this
on your
moment.
plate.
Yeah,
Yes,
but I mean, theoretically though, I like to get involved with stuff like this. And I mean, you've heard of them since you moved to Mass. When did this come on your radar?
I don't know, 2008 or 9, around there.
Yeah.
I remember. I don't know, probably because I was doing bite work with the Boston PD
Boston
and
PD, yep.
all those guys, and it probably came up in that circle.
Yeah. No, I think it's
I
a
don't
great
know
way to do it.
why it came up, but I've known that Mass Vesta Dog for a long time.
Yeah. So as far as the training goes, because I really like to fixate on the training. So you guys are actually like helping with the training in the field, like the.
No, we'll actually finance the training. So
okay.
sorry. So
Okay.
we will. So we just did a.
You mean for green dogs or?
Not for green dogs. Mostly for groups. So this grant, what did we just do? We just We just approved the grant. I can't
They're
remember what
watching
it
you.
was,
You're the
but
president,
I
Dave.
know.
Everyone's
I know.
watching.
It's like there's so much that we do. Well, I'll give you an example. 2 grants ago, we did a training, supplied money for a training seminar for tracking work, and I believe there was something like 15 teams that came and did that.
So it was like an intensive
multi-day.
Right.
The instructors came up from, I think, Tennessee.
Nice.
And so, yeah, we'll supply kind of class training funding.
Okay, got it.
We're not making the vest. We're not doing the training.
Yeah. So this
bring in
is for
specialists.
No, but
established
that's not
departments.
cheap either, getting the right people up to spend 3-4 days with your guys. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, that's pretty good. So you did the tracking. Do you do any like protection, detection-y kind of stuff too with the training, or most of that is kind of built into the dogs? From the get-go?
I mean, the departments do weekly, monthly in-service training.
Yeah.
So they're constantly working with their dogs. The handlers themselves on a daily basis are working their dogs because not every dog works every single day.
Yeah.
So they'll take them out. Sometimes they'll do bite work, but they'll do scent work for evidence recovery, or they'll go hide something and just kind of keeping them sharp. So they'll do it on their own as well.
Yeah.
You know, offhand, the weight of the vests, these the bulletproof, approximately like 6-7 pounds or something.
Yeah,
I'm just wondering if they train, like they work them in the vest.
Some do and some don't.
Just to get them used to
running
around with that weight and all that.
Especially with the freaking temps we've had this summer. I mean, this is crazy.
Well, the cool thing about the LOF vests are they do help with temperature control. So they are actually help the dog stay cooler than even without them.
Oh, cool.
I mean, that's a great example of the
that's great.
technology.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's like the cooling back on track coat. So when you decoyed the police dog thing, was that just for show? Was that just like a fun way for them to get out, or was that training
competition.
too? Yeah.
It was actually a competition for all police dogs.
Yep.
Okay, so that's just kind of a way for them to just work outside of being in the field, just for
and
fun.
they can evaluate
who's the best. It's a competition.
Yeah, it's a good way just to evaluate all the dogs.
It is fun witnessing, and I also do all the photography for Mass Vesta Dog, so I have photographed hundreds of teams, but I've been to so many different types of trainings, and it is funny to watch the handlers talk about each other's dogs and they razz and this and that, and who outs, who doesn't, who's got a very, very strong bite, who can find something the fastest. So
well, that's the difference between like police dog stuff and like actual competition is you're being timed on that out. Like
Absolutely.
It has to be quick. Like in the field, they can tell them 6 times.
Well, they're a little more liberal in the police department. Doesn't have to be quite as precise.
As long as the dogs are doing their jobs. As long as they're doing their jobs.
That's it.
No, I think it's awesome. What else do you have to contribute, hon? Anything I'm missing?
No, I think it's a great service you guys are providing. I'm glad you came on. I've been interested in these vests and how functional they are. And I thought there was some controversy originally, but I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was because the vests expired or something about it, but I remember, I don't know. I don't know what it was. It wasn't negative, but it was just something like people were questioning about these vests.
They definitely do expire. They do expire, because the material breaks down and then it's not as effective.
But still, an expired vest is still way better than no vest.
Something better than nothing.
I mean, you could still wear the thing for 10 years.
Absolutely.
Because it's not like it has to meet an internal requirement. It's just an elective thing.
Correct. Exactly. There's no government standards or anything.
Yeah.
If anything, the manufacturers, I mean, they're the ones constantly improving the quality and I do say technology, like the cooling. When I first started, there was a lot of discussion about how heavy they were, how bulky they were, how restrictive they were.
I'm sure they're much lighter now.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And that might have been at 15 years ago that they were pretty bulky or heavier. Same thing with the bulletproof vests that people wear.
Yeah.
In the beginning, it was like
a lot better.
Big armored plate you're putting on your body. Yeah.
We did an event at Clem's in Spencer, Mass. Thursday night, we had Lester PD come with their Canine. He did a demo, talked about his dog, and he joked that the dog vests are actually more expensive than the human vests. So
with most things in the dog world these days.
Yes.
A dog treadmill is a lot more expensive than a human treadmill. This is just how things work out, especially those underwater ones. Well, I think it's awesome. If you guys have not heard of this organization before, I really, really, really want you to check them out. We have the website. You said you have socials. You have Instagram?
We have Instagram and Facebook.
Okay,
yes.
so it's Mass Vesta Dog.
Yes.
So go follow them, keep track of events. I already have like a list of people out there who are going to be wanting to volunteer. I'm not going to call you out. loud on the podcast, but I know people that are going to want to get involved in this. I think it's a great organization, and especially if you're in Mass, you can totally support this so simply. Kona really just wants a podcast all on her own.
She's comfortable here, let me tell you.
I'm going to bring her something to eat.
She was here with Chrissy before we got here. Everybody was making friends, and now she just owns the whole studio. She's a great dog. She is an ambassador for the Malinois breed, but if you're watching at home, as we always say, they're not all like this, so
don't be fooled by Kona.
Absolutely.
Very rarely do I stick my face in a Mal's face that I met the same day. Okay, you want to get on the counter? Oh my gosh.
Well,
all right.
If your local Mass police department has canines, this might be something that you could.
Sorry, guys.
It's fine. We do anything. We normally got smoke.
We're dog people.
Kona's taking over. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us, Dave.
Environmentally, she's pretty good. No problem with a slick tail.
No problem with environment. None whatsoever.
Look at it, and she's wagging for everybody. She loves to be a part of. Oh, good. She's laying down. This is a little environmental thing, too. A lot of the dogs won't lay down on this. Every time I have the little dogs. All right, again, you're going to check out this website. I want you to send money. I want you to buy stuffed animals. I want you to get involved. I don't care how or why, but do it. This is an awesome organization. So many of the people that are near and dear to our hearts already knew Dave, and we are so grateful for Dave and Kona for making the trip here today. You guys, if you need anything from us, email us at studio@thequirkydog.com. And in the meantime, keep it quirky.
Take it easy, guys.
She loves Scott more than the pig. Bye, guys.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.